This is the new Sigma 28 to 105 f2.8. In today's video, I'm going to talk about my experience using this lens at my latest weddings, how it stacks up with the Tamron 35 to 150, the pros, the cons, which one should you ultimately decide on, all of those good things. But before we get into that, welcome back to the channel. Jared with an I here. If you are new here, this channel is all about giving you the confidence to lean into a full-time career as a wedding filmmaker. So if you're into that sort of thing, it would mean so much if you consider liking and subscribing. So I do not own the Sigma 28 to 105. Sigma did graciously send me a loaner to test out. So sadly, it does go right back to them after I'm done with this video. However, I did buy the Tamron 35 to 150, but after using the Sigma 28 to 105, I gotta say I'm having a little bit of buyer's remorse. But I will get into that later on in this video, but first, we gotta pay some bills. Here's the thing, if you are delivering your couple's wedding film through a YouTube link, through a Vimeo link, Dropbox, Google, you're not only providing your couple a disservice, but your brand as well. And look, I get it, sending a YouTube link, it's easy. You know, it's cost effective because it's free. But here's the thing, VidFlow is also easy. While it might not be free, there are a ton of features that make it so worth it. Something that's more than just a download link, but beautiful 4K quality on any device that they choose with your brand fully present. So if you're interested in elevating your client experience, wowing your couples, give them that unforgettable moment so that they never forget who you are and what you've done for them in their life, head over to vidflow.co and use my code WAYWARD at checkout so that you can receive 20% off on your annual subscription. Diving into the Sigma 28 to 105. One reason that I feel this is such a beautiful companion for wedding filmmakers is because of its versatility and its form factor. Coming from a 24 to 70, getting an additional 35 millimeters of range at the longer end at 2.8 is always a welcomed addition in any zoom lens in my opinion. That's why the Tamron 35 to 150 was so enticing, because it has such beautiful reach, gorgeous compression, gorgeous bokeh. It's a great lens overall. I think the biggest difference between the Tamron and the Sigma is really going to boil down to the weight, the focal ranges, and the overall budget that you have in mind. Now on paper, when you're looking at 28 millimeters versus 35 millimeters, you wouldn't think there would be such a drastic difference. But when you're looking at it side by side, I think having that extra width is more important than having that extra length. And that's just personal preference. I think if you are going into a wedding day and you know that your style, you like a little bit more compressed frames, you're more of a medium shot to a close-up kind of guy, you really only grab a couple wides for the establishers, then the 35 to 150 is going to be great for you. For me, I like just having that wide versatility from wide perspective to middle of the road to having good compression where I can really extend the reach and get some nice intimate shots throughout the day. Let's talk about the bokeh on both of these lenses. For the Sigma, it's beautiful. For the Tamron, it's beautiful. So I really don't have any complaints over the compression. I think these are really well-constructed lenses. Both of them are gonna give you great bokeh for your wedding films. And honestly, with the Sigma 28 to 105, it just feels like a 24 to 70 on steroids. As you can see on screen with all the examples I'm providing, you're not gonna have any issues with the depth of field with this lens. Diving into the weight on both of these lenses, the Sigma 28 to 105 comes in at 2.2 pounds, while the Tamron comes in at 2.6. And again, on paper, you wouldn't think that that would be a big difference, but when you're holding these lenses side by side, you can definitely tell the Tamron has a lot more weight to it. And holding this all day for a wedding, it's gonna cause some damage versus holding something like the 28 to 105. I did it for the past 3 weddings and I had 0 issues with this lens all day. So take that for what you will. Even rocking the 28 to 105 on my gimbal this past weekend, you would think it would create a lot more weight, but honestly, it was perfect and really seals the deal for an all-day carry on the wedding day. So let's dive into the versatility and the focal range for a second. You know, interestingly enough, I still found myself wanting a bit more range with the 28 to 105. And the easiest workaround for that, since I'm using Sony, is just to use clear image zoom so that I can get that 1.5 times crop in if I needed just that extra length. So I will say that does make it a little bit difficult if you're trying to choose between the Tamron versus the Sigma because having that extra 45 millimeters in length is honestly so nice and super useful, especially on a wedding day. So to that, I feel like it just really boils down to what you want to sacrifice. Are you okay sacrificing a little bit of width? Are you okay sacrificing a little bit of length? And ultimately for me, I feel like the 28-105 is just a better all-day lens versus the Tamron. Now, the Tamron still has its benefits and its pros and its cons, of course. A few of those cons really lie within the autofocus. Now, I will go ahead and say I've never really fully trusted autofocus to begin with. Still don't. Still have anxiety oftentimes using autofocus, hoping that there's not a lot of breathing and things going on in my frame that I don't want to be there. However, I will say that Sigma did impress me during my last ceremony. The lighting during the ceremony went from bright sun to shade, and tracking each member of the bridal party, the Sigma did a really great job of keeping a consistent focus, as well as tracking the bride and groom later down the aisle. So if I had to pick a lens that won in that situation, I would say the Sigma definitely did it. Diving into the price point, which I do feel is probably going to be one of the biggest deciding factors for a lot of you when deciding which lens to choose, because the Sigma is $14.99 versus Tamron's $17.99 price point. Now, if both of these lenses were released side by side on the same day, I probably would have gone with the Sigma over Tamron, but I will say I am still thankful that I bought the Tamron. Despite its quirks, it still is a beautiful lens. It still serves me well because I use it as my main ceremony lens, speeches. I use it for my second shooters. I let them use it to capture great variety throughout the wedding day. So it definitely still serves me well. Now, in terms of having an all-day lens, I think the Sigma 28-105 is something that I would highly consider replacing my 24-70 with. Both of these lenses offer beautiful compression, versatility, image quality, and it really does make you question, so which one do you choose? I think ultimately it depends on preference at this point when it comes to any lens that you choose, because everything's just so good these days. There's really no wrong decisions. Yes, there's going to be some quirks. There's going to be some things that you're not really too fond of with certain tools. And I think it's really just going to boil down to the more minute differences between both of these lenses. Are you willing to sacrifice 7 millimeters in width? Or are you willing to sacrifice 45 millimeters in overall length? Would you rather save $300? Do you want something that's a little bit lighter, a little bit less strain on your handheld setup? And I think if you're looking for a lens to replace your 24-70, if you're looking for an all-day lens, something that gives you so much versatility, it's lightweight, it's decent price point, it's good quality, then the Sigma is going to be a beautiful option to consider. And then if you're looking for a lens that offers really beautiful compression, image quality, overall versatility in a backup lens, your backup setup, then the Tamron 35-150 is 100% going to serve you well, especially during the ceremony and those intimate moments on the wedding day. But if you want to learn more about the Tamron 35-150, I did a video all about this lens specifically, so you can find that above here. But what are your thoughts on the new Sigma 28-105? Are you interested in it? Have you tested it out yourself? Do you already have it? What's your favorite lens to use on the wedding day? Either way, I'd love to hear from you guys. So until next time, keep creating and telling beautiful stories. Peace.